Welcome to another episode of The Latest with Maya. Today, I am so excited to have a conversation with actor Dana Ashbrook. You've seen Dana in Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, Minor Premise, The Opposite Sex, and so much more. Dana even guest starred in two of my all-time favorite shows, Psych and White Collar. Um, Most recently, Dana guest starred in another show I love, High Potential. Thank
Mm.
you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to be talking with you.
No, well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's get started. So what small things bring you joy on a daily basis?
Um, I'm a kind of a homebody, so I have animals. I have two dogs and a cat, and my partner Jenny and I, and we just kind of have our little sanctuary here in Culver City, and so it's like kind of I like to do outdoor stuff and do just be home, watch movies. I'm pretty boring nowadays, but I love hiking, and we used to hike all the areas in Malibu, and we used to go to the beach over there exactly where everything kind of burned up. So um that's been different since the fires. We used to go hiking up in Malibu almost every weekend with the dogs, so that's been a bummer. But just little things like that.
Yeah.
Nature, and my family, my little family, my pet family, and
Oh,
my partner.
I love that.
I'm a
Yeah.
simple man, Maya. I'm a simple guy.
Well, I am a homebody as well, so I totally understand.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
why go out? Everything I need is right here.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the time, my family has to force me to get out of the house. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm just happy staying home.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It's always like whenever I'm out now, I'm always like, wow, okay, I'm out. It's dark outside and I'm outside of my house.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I lived in New York for 20 years, so it's just different, but it's nice. I love it. I love having the nice, quiet, peaceful life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I visited New York in October 2023. Um, and it was very fun and very overwhelming. So afterwards, I was like, I'm ready to leave New York.
Yeah, when you're visiting, you have to like go and do so many things that you exert yourself so much. It's like there's so many things to see. It's impossible to see everything. But when you live there, it's a little more, you don't go do those things that the tourists do mostly, you know what I mean? It's like more of a settled in normal life, really. But I mean, yeah, New York is crazy. I mean, the energy and the 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 fact that all those people have to live together, all the people, it's a miracle, that city. I love that city, but I
Yeah.
don't miss living. I don't miss the weather, and I love living here in California. It's so much more peaceful.
Yeah, California is my favorite place in the world.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice here. I was born here, and I lived in LA for 20 years before I moved to New York, and then I was there for almost 20, and then now I'm back. So I've had both, and I love LA. I love it here. So
Yeah. Yeah. Um, who do you most admire, and how has that impacted the way you live your life?
um, you mean like in my life, who do I most admire? Like in my life, who has been like sort of I mean, other than the obvious, which would be David Lynch, he was such a major part of my life and sort of the artistic end of my life, and also towards when as soon as I learned TM, he became part of my part of my normal life too, and he I look up to people like him and people that are always creating. He was such a worker. He really walked the walk, sort of. He would do art every day and for hours, and he wasn't just a quote unquote painter. He worked every day. He was like an artist. So I respect him and his work ethic, and I really believe that humans are the most happy when they can complete a task, when they can start something and see it through to the end and then finish it. It's like the most satisfying thing. So um, I don't know. I just respect people that have a really great work ethic and that are people that are good people to other people. I don't have like specific people in mind. You know what I mean? I really don't. But you know, just people that are good to other people is really the only thing I care about.
Oh,
And
yeah.
at this stage of my life.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Um, so do you have any irrational fears?
I have 1,000 irrational fears. Are you kidding me? Anxiety is, our commodity that we deal in here in my household. My partner, she's a New York City. She was born and raised in New York City, so like you know, anxiety is like our milieu. Yeah, I mean, I have all sorts of like crazy fears. I can think about all the silly things. With how the age of pets is not as long as the age of humans. So, if you get into that mindset and just, irrationally start thinking about that kind of stuff, I find it serves me not well. So I try to limit the anxiety that I feel, but it's always a challenge. Lots of irrational fears, though. Yeah, for sure. And, plenty of rational ones too.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Um, I have, yeah, a ton of anxiety, and so I feel like my brain is like, I always joke that it's just one big irrational fear.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's the brain's just trying to not freak out about everything under the sun is sometimes it's so overwhelming. It's such a fire hose of things in your face that it's sometimes it's so hard to um not just be paralyzed with fear, you
yeah.
know? So, but then you also meditation really helps, the transcendental meditation really helps with anxiety and stuff like that. And I know when I'm practicing more consistently, I haven't been lately, but when I am, I'm less anxious. Um, and so that's a good natural way to cure it, rather than trying to take some sort of drug or whatever if you feel super anxious or whatever. Transcendental meditation is super helpful.
Um, what has been the biggest obstacle you've overcome?
Uh, what is this a therapy session? Just
It
like
can be.
uh, I had the obstacles, fear, I guess, would be the biggest obstacle that I've overcome in my life. Just fear, because you either come from love or fear, and you try to come from love more than fear. And so I would say just, the everyday getting out of bed, and that would be the biggest obstacles. You know what I mean? Just like the mundane, easy stuff that it's it can get the mundane easy stuff can become super difficult. So I don't know. I just try to keep those feet moving forward and you know obstacles like that in my career, it's just obstacle wise there. It's just like, the whole thing's just one big obstacle course, really, honestly. One big long obstacle course if you're gonna stay with it. You know what I mean? I've been doing it since I was 18, 1985. So it's been a long career, and there's good times and bad times, and it's never steady. It's never been like a steady incline at all. It's always been whoop, 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 all over the place. So
Yeah.
that's been an obstacle, just having to sort of deal with that sort of life. But I've been doing it since so much of my life. I've been with this lifestyle of being an actor. Sometimes you work, sometimes you don't. Whatever. Am I ever going to work again? All that stuff. So I've done so much of it that it's not. I've kind of learned to deal with it much better than when I was younger.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, it's just one big long journey, and there's ups and downs for me. There has, I'm every actor. It's a difficult profession. When you're working, it's the best thing ever. But when you're not, it's hard to get a job. So you're constantly working to get a job, and
Mhm.
it can sometimes feel futile, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, so, who do you consider to be the gold standard when it comes to acting and storytelling?
Oh wow. Acting. Um, I quite enjoy like the stories that someone like Wes Anderson tells. I enjoy those. I enjoy his movies, um, and I enjoy the way he tells stories. But as far as like actors, man, I'm like, I love like Kate Blanchett, and I love there's some really good people out there, and but I mean, like Thomas Hardy, I think would be one of the younger guys that I think is really great these days. He's a terrific actor, and super good, and you know, um, and I look up to all those people. I look up to all of the people that are in the movies that I enjoy, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but those two, I would say, are people that I really really think are doing great stuff. And, I mean, got people like Jeremy Strong, and Timothy Chalamet. Just movies this year. They're doing great stuff. It's just great.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed those movies. Um, I'm not a real like action sort of superhero guy. I don't really see those movies, so I don't know about those movies. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on that. I don't really have, I just enjoy a lot of different, performances. Um, so I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. Um, yeah. So what is your favorite way to procrastinate?
Um, I watch, I could sit and watch like back to back to back to back Twilight Zones, old Twilight Zones all the time. Um, and I enjoy playing golf, which is great for LA because there's a lot of golf around here. Not today because it's a rainy day, but that's kind of a procrastination because it's like, well, I probably could be doing something more productive in my time than playing golf. So I always have to like play a game with myself, but it's I use it as like a reward to play golf. If I get some stuff done that I need to get done, I'll say, okay, well now I can go play golf without any guilt. I feel guilt sometimes when I'm out there because I feel like I should be doing something else with my time, but that's just stupid because you're allowed to do whatever. You're allowed to play golf. And,
Yeah.
you're allowed to do whatever. But So I can procrastinate forever. I mean, I can watch a movie. I can, that's probably what I would do mostly if I was trying to put something off. I would try to find some movie to get into and be like, "Hey, I'm into the movie. I got to finish
Yeah.
it." but
Yeah,
but I try to get stuff done. I try.
yeah, I can if I'm like really obsessed with a show, I will just watch that and put off whatever I have to do.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so of all that you have accomplished so far, is there something you are most proud of?
Yeah, I mean, Twin Peaks has probably been the best thing that I've done as far as like quality wise, I would say, which is crazy because it was 35 years ago and I've been working a lot since then, but not a lot, but I've been working steadily since then. And I don't know. I would say I'm most proud of that whole thing, which was lucky that I was involved with it. You know what I mean? So it's a miracle that it's so so well received and it's so cool. And Twin Peaks itself, it's got to be the best thing that I've ever done for sure, hands down. Not even not talking about my acting. My acting maybe has gotten better a little bit over the years, but that was a great part. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I had a great time doing it. And, David Lynch was the coolest guy. So he made me seem super cool. And, it was really fun to play someone that is not like, you know, you know, I was a theater geek in high school, you know what I mean?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my dad was a drama teacher at a junior college in San Diego my whole life. So
Wow.
been around theater and stuff like that, since I was little.
Yeah.
Little.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun way to grow up. It was definitely different because my mom and my dad were split up, so I would spend like the year with my mom, school year, and then I would go to my dad's for the summer, and that's when I would do plays and do we would do two plays a year, a summer, so it was fun. It was like a lot of exposure to different world for sure, different creative world. So it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I am pop culture obsessed and I go in stages of shows that I cannot stop watching. Is there a show that you are currently obsessed with?
We're watching Paradise right now, which is a new show with Sterling K. Brown, where he plays like a Secret Service guy, and James Marsden. It's pretty good, and we love Severance. Um, and yeah, I would say those shows. I'm not. I can't think of another show that we're like we have to watch other than Severance and Paradise, which we're caught up on. So, but that's right now. Yeah, I mean, I told you I could easily watch Twilight Zone, old Twilight Zone, all the time. It's so weird. It's like it just is. I've seen them all. I think, but every once in a while there's one that I think, oh man, I don't remember this one, which is great. But I think they're so good and just so interesting and so brilliant. But what are you obsessed with right now?
Um, Well, I haven't started watching Paradise yet, but I'm so excited to watch that. I've been my best friend was just visiting a little bit ago, and when he was here, we started watching Twin Peaks. So that's what I've been binge watching recently.
I gotcha. Okay. Well,
So,
that's fun. That's a good one. I haven't seen old Twin Peaks in quite a while, but I've seen the movie a couple times because there's been like screenings of it, but I haven't watched the show in a long time. I don't even remember when. I don't even remember. Can't remember it. I
Mm.
mean, it's funny. Sometimes I see clips and I'm like, nope, don't remember that day. Don't remember what I was doing. Why was I there? Why don't I remember what that scene? You know what I mean? So funny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. So, but I'm obsessed um, with that show right now. So,
far out, right on.
yeah,
That's amazing. It's amazing how kids. I mean, how old are you?
I'm 22.
Yeah, that's like crazy to me. It's kids that, I mean, how insane is it that someone's getting into it? I guess it's kind of like me getting into the Twilight Zone, honestly. It's, I was like a little kid when that show was on. I wasn't even I wasn't even born. I was born in 67. I think they were done by 67, honestly. So it was like all reruns that I saw throughout my life, but I've always been obsessed with it. It's so weird. And but that's the same thing with Twin Peaks. I know there's a lot of people that get really that watch it and rewatch it and stuff like that, and it's crazy. It's, people pass it down. My parents will pass it down to their kids. Like they'll make their kids watch it, and as soon
Yeah.
as their kids are old enough, and it won't scare them to death. But um, yeah, it's a crazy thing. Can't believe it. You're 22 years old and you're watching it. I mean, we shot it, 35, 36, 37 years ago. I don't even remember how long ago now. 89 was when we shot the pilot. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, a
Yeah.
long time ago, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Psych is one of my all-time favorite shows, and so I've seen the Dual Spires episode so many times. So I was like, I need to watch Twin Peaks now. So after I started
Yeah.
watching that, I went back and watched the Dual Spires episode again
Mhm.
and got more of the references.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bet. I mean, the thing's it's stuffed full of references. Yeah,
Yeah.
James and the guy that directed that episode, Matt Shankman, Matt Shankman. They both really liked the show, so it was like their little tribute. James especially. James, he's been my friend since like '99, maybe. I met him on some other show that he was a regular on some show, and I guest starred on it, and so he loved Twin Peaks, and he just came over and he made himself like my little buddy, and he's just such a great guy,
Yeah.
and we've been friends ever since, like really good friends.
Oh,
He's a
that's
great guy.
cool.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's one of my all-time favorites. I love everything he's done, and I was obsessed with his other show, A Million Little Things.
Yeah.
And I interviewed the creator of that show. And when I interviewed the creator, he surprised me and like brought James into the interview. So I got to talk to
Oh,
him for a minute. So
oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, James is a pretty sweet person. He's a pretty he cares about people and he helps people. He like does the pay it forward thing so much, and you know, you gotta love the guy. He's
yeah,
just he's a great guy. Love him to
yeah,
death. The
yeah,
brother, he's my brother. But that seems like him, hopping on the old interview. It seems
yeah,
fun. He's fun. He's such a fun person. He
yeah.
really is.
He is, yeah. Yeah, that was when I was at Seacrest Studios. And I remember my mom and my sister were there with me. And so like after the interview, they came over to me and I couldn't even say anything. Like I was
No,
shaking.
that's so sweet. That's so
So
sweet.
I was like, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, that's really fun. That's really fun. That's
Yeah,
great. Yeah, that
yeah,
was a great cast in A Million Little Things. That was a great cast they had.
yeah. It was. Yeah, the series finale still haunts me. Whenever I think about it, I just start crying.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
Yeah,
Pretty sad at the end when he's just looking in the camera. Here's
yeah,
my cat. There's my cat.
Oh,
Yeah, he likes the boxes. He likes boxes.
I love that.
Yeah, surrounded by animals for sure. Always,
Yeah.
always.
Oh, animals are the best.
Yeah, honestly, they
Yeah.
sure are.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is the greatest lesson you have learned from a character you've played?
Mm. Um, I think I don't know if it was a lesson, but I got a lot of information when I did a movie about early onset Alzheimer's disease, and I played a guy that it was based on a true story of this guy whose wife got started to get Alzheimer's at 50 years old, and she was like an aggressively abusive. It's like something that can sometimes happen during Alzheimer's, and people become like physically abusive, especially when they're younger. And so it was a movie I did about that, and I learned a lot about Alzheimer's and you know so that was an eye opening one for me because I didn't know anything about it really, and so I got to do research and find out, and the guy that wrote the book that it was based on, I got to know him and talk to him about what happened with his wife. It's really sad stuff, because she's so young and it just completely changed and took her life so early. And I got to learn a lot about that. And that's the great thing about being an actor. When you do certain things, like you play certain kind of parts, you get to learn about history or about certain professions or certain vocations or certain, whatever. You get like that's one of the best things about being an actor is just getting to learn. It's constantly learning stuff. You know what I mean? So I'd say that one probably was the one that I kind of got the most out of in that sense.
Oh, wow. So if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
Uh, um, escape at all costs. No. Warning label. I would say, I don't know. I don't know. Just steer clear of this gentleman, steer clear of him, and allow him to pass without any incident. I have no idea. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Um, well, I like those.
Just steer clear. Just steer clear of this gentleman and let him just go about his business. I think that would be my one.
Yeah. I like those.
It's a little bit long. It's not really catchy, but it's mine. So
Yeah.
yeah, steer clear.
Yeah. So, what show or movie do you turn on when you just want to be comforted and
Mm.
tune out the world?
Well, Blade Runner. Um, um, in a more modern movie would be like Forgetting Sarah and Marshall. Always makes me thought laugh and it's funny, and I always like that movie. He's so funny in it. Jason Segel, and yeah. So Blade Runner, that Jaws. Jaws is a movie that I'll watch because I know it so well and the performances are so good. But yeah, Blade Runner is probably my number one. I could just put it on.
Oh, love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a list of yeah, shows and movies that I just rotate between.
Mhm. Star Wars, the first Star Wars movies, like I don't know how you kids figure it out, but the ones with like Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher, those ones, like those three.
Yeah.
Like I can watch them anytime. I just put them on. I've seen them all a million times, but I just, it's nice to watch something that you know what's coming sometimes and you don't have to think about it too much.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, yeah, Psych and White Collar are two of those shows for me that I
Yeah,
know every episode.
yeah,
And so yeah, I just like have it on all the time.
yeah. Psych is a good one for that because they're so fun and so lighthearted. They're
Yeah,
really they're great. Like Seinfeld. Definitely, I could watch Seinfeld at all. Also all the time. You could just
yeah,
like if I want to catch a couple episodes before bed just to clear my palate. If I watch
yeah,
something like kind of like violent or heavy or whatever, watch a little Seinfeld. I
yeah,
like that too.
yeah,
But Psych's great for that. Psych's great because each
yeah,
episode is nice
yeah,
tidy little bow on it, and it's fun. And there's always some good laughs.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, recently it's been like every night as I'm going to bed, I put on White Collar to fall asleep to. Ever since
Yeah,
it came back on Netflix, I've done that every night since it came back. So
right. Wow, White Collar. Right. I think I did one of those. Right. I did
yeah,
a White Collar.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't think I've ever seen it. Who's on the show? Who's the lead of it? Gabriel Macht? No, he was on Suits.
yeah, that was Suits. It's Matt Bomer and Tim
Oh, Matt Bomer,
McKay.
right. Right. And Willie Garson was on that show too,
Yeah,
wasn't he? Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember that show. Matt Bomer. Right, right, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a good show. That was fun. That was like one of the few jobs I got when I lived in New York. It was like I moved there and it was like, oh, I got to work on the streets. It was nice. It was fun.
Yeah,
Manhattan.
yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I write a lot of songs, and I wrote one about White Collar, and I wrote one about the series finale of A Million Little Things. So
Oh, wow. Right on.
thank
That's cool. That's
you.
great. Right on.
Yeah. So
Wonderful.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so, what show or movie do you find yourself quoting all the time?
Quoting?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know if it's like one movie, but there can be a handful of like 80s movies, like just 80s movies. There are quotes from 16 Candles that we do. Like my partner Jenny's sister is a huge 80s like movies fan. So whenever we're together, it's just, quoting 16 Candles and like St. Elmo's Fire and all those cheesy movies from the 80s, which I love, and Breakfast Club and that kind of stuff. So I would say it was like those kind of movies that we Better Off Dead, like a bunch of those 80s movies. You know what I mean? That's what
yeah,
we kind of that's the Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
yeah,
which you probably don't even know what that is, but it's so funny, that movie.
yeah. Well, 80s movies are the best. I love them.
They're just simple. It was a simpler time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my brain is just like filled with show and movie quotes just to reference in any situation.
Yeah, it's helpful. It's like when people used to quote philosophers or literature. Now we quote movies and TV. It just happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the shows I have like three shows that I just quote all the time, no matter what. Um, and so I quote Psych all the time and Friends and Will and Grace.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Those are great shows. Those are such fun shows. Funny, funny, funny shows.
Yeah. 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 Um, yeah, so what is something people are always surprised to learn about you?
I don't know that I'm not. I mean, if they're Twin Peaks fans, they probably know that I'm not like that kind of. I'm not like Bobby. Briggs at all. Maybe the later Bobby Briggs, but not the younger one. It was like such a fun character to play. I loved doing it so much. But I think they're surprised to just see that I'm just like just like a theater geek. I'm a theater guy. I love theater. I grew up on musical theater and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love musicals. So what do you have a favorite musical?
Yeah, probably like Sweeney Todd, I would say is my favorite, Sondheim. And I love that one. And any Sondheim really. Superstar. I also like Hair. And of the newer ones, I loved Hamilton. Hades Town was really good. There's some good ones still. I mean, there's some really good stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many that I love. One of my all-time favorites is Spring Awakening.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good one.
yeah, I just have that soundtrack on all the time.
I like Hedwig and the Angry Inch. I like that. That's great. It's like a real punk rocky
Yeah.
kind of score, and it's great. I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I also I have a sign or a picture of my favorite Broadway musicals, and so there's Hamilton and Spring Awakening and a bunch of others.
No, right on. Cool. That's great. Did you get to see plays when you were in New York?
We actually, the reason we went to New York was to see Gutenberg.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we went because Andrew Rannells is a friend of mine, and I've interviewed him a couple times, so he invited me and my family to come see his show.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
That's
it was
great.
so cool. It was,
That's fun.
yeah,
Nice.
the coolest experience.
Oh, that's great. Right on.
Yeah, it was also really fun because I went with my mom and my sister, and it was all of our first time seeing a Broadway show. So it was
Oh yeah.
really cool.
That's neat. Yeah, that's pretty special. That's a special thing for sure,
Yeah.
especially if you love theater. I mean, it's
Yeah.
there in London, the two places to go, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Far
Um,
out. That's great, man.
yeah. So, so I just have one more question for you. Um, so I love inspiring and motivational quotes. And this week, the one that spoke to me is by our Solo, and it's she didn't fear the flames, she became the fire. Is there a quotation that has inspired you lately?
I don't really know any quotes. The only one that's sticking out is this Maya Angelou quote that's I don't know it verbatim, but something about if you can't uh change something, change your attitude about it. And I mean that's sort of the gist of it. I don't know, that's not exactly it, but and that just makes sense to me. It's like you can't dwell on stuff that's going to drive you crazy. It's like life is too short,
Yeah.
and there's so many other things to be concerned with. So you know, I think that's a good quote for anyone that needs to has to deal with anything that isn't going their way or whatever. You got to roll with it a little bit sometimes, but it's hard. It's hard. Life is hard. I
Yeah.
don't. That's my quote. Life is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I like those quotes.
Ah,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Um, yeah, well, that was my final question for you. I have just had the best time talking with you. I so appreciate your joining me. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been my pleasure, Maya.
Thank you. Yeah, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on today's edition of the latest with Maya.